on our Facebook and YouTube pages. We gather together today to foster our understanding of our place in the universe, embracing the worth and dignity of all, supporting justice, equity, and peace in our world, and accepting one another as we search for meaning and respecting the connectedness of all life. Please take a moment to think of all your friends at MVUUC. Greet them with a comment in the chat box, and remember that you can still reach out to them via email, phone, social media, or video chat. Physical distancing does not need to mean emotional distancing. Let us support one another.
You need to mute your audio, huh?
Visitors, as we are a diverse group with varying interests and beliefs, our services are varied in format, tone, and topic. We encourage you to view several services to gain a good understanding of our congregation. If you'd like to receive our weekly email newsletter, please email us at news, that's N-E-W-S, at mvuuc.org. MVUUC remains committed to supporting our members and friends during this difficult time of social distancing. For that reason, we are coordinating assistance with groceries, phone calls, and other needs. If this sounds like something that would be helpful to you, please send an email to sac@mvuuc.org with your name and what kind of assistance you would like to request. Now is the time for announcements. Announcements can be sent ahead of time to services@mvuuc.org to be read. If you have an important announcement now, you can raise your hand by clicking the raise hand button at the bottom of the participant box in Zoom. Then we will announce your name and turn on your mic and camera so you can make your announcement yourself. Robin, are there any announcements today?
Yes, and sorry for the technical difficulties this morning. There is an announcement from Winnie Rex, and she says that the Spirit and Practice will meet this afternoon after service at 1 on Zoom to discuss our stages of spiritual growth. If you have any questions, you can email her at winrexx@gmail.com. And I believe Megan posted one in the chat, but I can't see it because I left the meeting, so. I don't know if Megan wants to read it aloud or somebody else who was in the meeting. Oh, there she posted again, just kidding. So Megan says that we are looking for more musicians to contribute recorded musical performances to our December 20th holiday service, which is called Christmahana Kwanzaa Solstice, a musical celebration. Any style, genre, or tradition is welcome. If you're interested, please contact Megan at sac@mvuuc.org. And then the second announcement from Megan is the MVUUC Social Action Committee is organizing a children's coat and warm items drive. Through the months of December, we will be collecting brand new children's coats with tags still on and new hats, gloves, scarves, etc. in any size. We will have 2 collection points, one in Bowling Green and one in Maumee. You can email Megan at sac@mvuuc for the address of the collection point nearest to you. And I believe those are the announcements we have today.
All right, thank you very much, Rob. Oh.
That's my part. Oh, okay. The chalice. Sorry about that. The chalice will be lit today by Tom Edge. Please join me in reading the words for the chalice lighting that appear as a comment in the chat box, which is down there. Okay. This morning, once again, we're invited to grow more than we've grown, to be more than we've been, to see more than we've seen of the wonders of life. In that humility, with that purpose, let us worship together.
Thank you, Demetrius. This morning's opening words come from author Og Mandino. Have you heard of the spilt milk story? Well, we all know there is no use crying over spilt milk, but this story is different. I would hope all parents would respond in this manner. I recently heard a story about a famous research scientist who had made several important medical breakthroughs. He was being interviewed by a newspaper reporter who asked him why he thought he was able to be so much more creative than the average person. What set him so far apart from others? He responded that, in his opinion, it all came from an experience with his mother that occurred when he was about 2 years old. He had been trying to remove a bottle of milk from the refrigerator when he lost his grip on the slippery bottle and it fell, spilling its contents all over the floor, a veritable sea of milk. When his mother came into the kitchen, instead of yelling at him, giving him a lecture, or punishing him, she said, "Robert, what a great and wonderful mess you have made. I have rarely seen such a huge puddle of milk. Well, the damage has already been done. Would you like to get down and play in the milk for a few minutes before we clean it up?" Indeed, he did. After a few minutes, his mother said, "You know, Robert, whenever you make a mess like this, eventually you have to clean it up and restore everything to its proper order. So how would you like to do that? We could use a sponge, a towel, or a mop. Which do you prefer?" He chose the sponge, and together they cleaned up the milk. His mother then said, "You know, what we have here is a failed experiment in how to effectively carry a big bottle of milk with 2 tiny hands. Let's go out in the backyard and fill the bottle with water and see if you can discover a way to carry it without dropping it." The little boy learned that if he grasped the bottle at the top, near the lip, with both hands, he could carry it without dropping it. What a wonderful lesson. This renowned scientist then remarked that it was at that moment that he knew he didn't need to be afraid to make mistakes. Instead, he learned that mistakes were just opportunities for learning something new, which is, after all, what scientific experiments are all about. Even if the experiment doesn't work, we usually learn something valuable from it. Wouldn't it be great if all parents would respond the way Robert's mother responded to him? Every memorable act in the history of the world is a triumph of enthusiasm. Nothing great was ever achieved without it, because it gives any challenge or any occupation, no matter how frightening or difficult, a new meaning. Without enthusiasm, you are doomed to a life of mediocrity, but with it, you can accomplish miracles. And now, Ruth the Brat will lead us in a song, Believe It or Not.
Look at what's happening to me. I can't believe it myself. Suddenly I'm up on top of the world. It should have been somebody else. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. Just like the light of a new day, it hit me from out of the blue, breaking me out of the spell I was in, making all of my wishes come true. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me. This is too good to be true. Look at me, falling for you. Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, I'm walking on air. I never thought I could feel so free. Flying away on a wing and a prayer. Who could it be? Believe it or not, it's just me.
This morning, also, I love that song. I don't know who picked that song, but I've sang it before and it's so fun. Um, this morning's reflection was written by UU minister Jordan Nelson Long of the UU Society of Fairhaven, Massachusetts. The one where Boston is. So far, I suck at this vegetarian thing. Whoever picked this for me must not know I am a carnivore. So far, I suck at this vegetarian thing. The problem is pretty simple. I keep finding myself with a chorizo burrito in my hand, and oops, I did it again. Please prepare for me to go on Britney Spears references also during this. In the first 7 days of 2020, I've eaten far less meat and probably more vegetables than usual, but I am definitely failing any purity tests out there. And not intentionally. It's just that 40 years of habit is hard to break. And my specific commitment to the not eating of meat is at the moment a shallow one. So, deal off, right? Not at all. Well, do you at least feel like a failure? No. And I also don't feel like a vegetarian exactly. What I feel like is a work in progress, and I trust that. I trust my ability to learn and grow. I trust myself to lean toward my commitments And I trust my body to build the muscle to do it better day by day. I have a shallow commitment to not eating meat, at least at the moment. But I have a very deep commitment to trying to live in fuller concert with my values and with the earth. I'm also profoundly interested in exploring the question of what can be leveraged by consumer level choices. There's a lot holding me here in this experiment, none of which dies of imperfection. And I'm going to level with you. The above is a true story, but I'm not telling it to you as a confessional. I don't need a witness or arbiter for my eating practices. I'm here, and secret, you are too, for the metaphor. Because sometimes we suck at things first, even when we care about the larger implications. And you know what? Sometimes your friend or neighbor or colleague does too. And a thing that American culture and UU theology, interesting overlap there for sure, are both averse to grasping is that we as people can commit to a thing and suck at doing what we committed to and still keep going in the service of commitment. I want to read that one more time. We're adverse to grasping what people can commit to a thing and suck at doing what we are committed to and still keep going in the service of our commitment. We are adverse to grasping that it's possible, and it is frankly alien to us to consider what this kind of try and then try better is in fact what integrity looks like where gravity is applied. Amid this backdrop, I was recently charged with overuse of the word covenant. I pled guilty. It's an occupational hazard. And I said that I would try to find another word, but the truth is I don't have one. Because where relationship is concerned, covenant is the only word I know that means that we, you and I, are going to try and mess it up. And then we're going to try again. Covenant is one of the most powerful tools I know in growing toward the person I want to be, because that so often means building toward, not discovering ready made, but co creating month by month the relationships I hope to have. And I need that word because what's left otherwise, namely some brittle and therefore broken promises, seems unlikely to allow our best care for one another, insufficient to facilitate the best of what I have experienced between us, unworthy of the complexities of human love, including its concerning capacity for hate and the mystifying and magical and sometimes highly uncomfortable realms of discovery of self, and other. Without covenant, a conversational and relational right of return, what we have when we mess up is cut off. That's effective in the most surface level sense at removing discomfort, but its ask or our ask of it is that we be left where it found us. It's the opposite, and short of change through growth. I have plenty strong muscles for that particular process. I know it better than I wish, but it's a limited value tool. Walls are okay for separation, but if it's connection we seek, we are going to need strategies for when it's hard. For when people are, well, human. For when we ourselves are more in progress than we wish. trying and failing and trying again. And this is where covenant makes different asks than what our culture is used to, where we might learn to say, oops, that didn't work, and to follow that with a considered, let's try this instead. I might someday be an actual vegetarian. No, I probably won't. But what I am right now is someone willing to learn out loud, a person with tools better than shame, and a believer in the power of relationship and the pursuit of personal and relational growth. I am not yet good at this year's resolution, but I'm not worried. I know through long experience that my grit is made out of my practices. And guess what? Yours is too.
Thank you, Demetrius. For our UU Principal Connection today, I want us to think about that word that Reverend Long used, the word covenant, and the way that it implies that we all have a relationship with one another. Whether that relationship is through MVUUC, whether it is in what we do outside of these walls in other contexts. She wants us to think about the way that we support one another's journeys. And I've talked about this a couple of times in the last few months, given current circumstances. But I think she hits on a really important point that we're sometimes afraid to discuss. While we emphasize, as you use, the responsible search for truth, and we keep falling back on the importance of our interconnected relationships, we're not always great about talking about what happens when we mess up. Or more than that, we don't talk about how the fear of making mistakes holds us back and prevents us from taking the actions that we want to take, the actions that we know that we should take. Last week, as I was wrapping up some of my classes, I tried talking to my students about this because it's something that comes up a lot when we discuss race and racism. There are a lot of people who are afraid to even engage in those conversations for fear that they're going to say something the wrong way, or that it's going to be perceived a way that makes them uncomfortable. Or worse, they're afraid they might be challenged on long-held beliefs. And in talking to my students about that, I encourage them to think of the words attributed to Maya Angelou. She said that as she got older, that many of her practices and her ideas changed, and that there was nothing wrong with that. And she summed it up so neatly. Now that I know better, I do better. And if we as a congregation take that to heart, think of how much that changes positively for us. As a congregation, we've already made substantial changes in the last few years in response to external pressures, but also to internal needs. We've made mistakes along the way, and we've grown from those mistakes. And at each step in that process, as we've learned how to do something better, as we've picked up new information from those experiments, I think we've done better. We can think about how that affects us at the congregational level, but we should especially think of how that affects us as individuals and the support that we lend to one another, and how we can encourage everyone's individual spiritual growth. Now, Ruth DeBrot will lead us in a song, Brave. Our closing words come from poet Edna St. Vincent Millay. I'm glad that I paid so little attention to good advice. Had I abided by it, I might have been saved from some of my most valuable mistakes.
Please join me in reading the words for extinguishing our chalice that can be found in the comments in the chat box. As we extinguish this chalice, may we find in each waking day scores of blessings and opportunities for positive change.
After the service, we will turn on all videos and mics. Feel free to stay in Zoom and chat with your fellow MVUUC members and friends for our coffee hour. Please be patient, as turning on the cameras must be done one at a time, and it can take a few minutes to get to everyone. And now, for our closing song, let us sing Let It Be a Dance. You can find the words as a comment in the Zoom chat box.
Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Let a dancing song be heard. Play the music, say the words, and fill the sky with sailing birds. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Learn to follow, learn to lead. Feel the rhythm, feel the need. To reap the harvest, plant the seed. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Everybody turn and spin. Let your body learn to bend. And like a willow with the wind, let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. A child is born, the old must die. A time for joy, a time to cry. Take it as it passes by. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance we do. May I have this dance with you through the good times and the bad times too. Let it be a dance. Morning star comes out at night. Without the dark there is no light. If nothing's wrong, then nothing's right. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let it be a dance. Let the sunshine, let it rain. Share the laughter, bear the pain. And round we go again. Let it be a dance.
Thank you, Lynn. That is the end of the service, but please stay for the virtual coffee hour that follows. Thanks.